Earlier this year, we had our faces blown off by a movie called Godzilla -1.
Yes.
And I did an ink drawing to process the experience.
Right?
This month, the new Godzilla King Kong movie comes out, and to even things up, we're going to do another ink rendering, this time of your good buddy, King Kong.
I do like him.
I know. Now, since this movie takes place in, I believe, a different cinematic universe than Godzilla -1,
Oh, yeah.
I decided to ink Kong in a different way. So I dusted off my ink wash.
Not really, though.
Yeah,
they look pretty
there's
dusty.
a thin layer of dust on them. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out to everybody. Let's go to Skull Island.
So with this Godzilla piece, you use a lot of pens. But with Kong, it's going to be brushes?
Yeah, I think with the exception of the fine face details you saw at the beginning of the video, everything in this will be brushwork.
Oh, okay.
And where Godzilla was very stark, black and white,
Right.
using hatching and line work to achieve midtones, Kong is going to be washed with different intensities of blacks and gray. So that might give him a softer look. We'll see. I don't know.
I'm guessing this weird little lizard on the ridge is a nod to Godzilla?
More or less. Since the two of them team up in Godzilla X Kong, I figured I'd put in a little reference to his MonsterVerse.
The
pal.
X isn't a Roman numeral. It's X.
Godzilla
like,
X Kong.
Times.
Like multiplication times?
I guess.
How does that make sense?
I don't know. I know it's not a Roman numeral 10. That doesn't make sense either.
Well, I honestly haven't heard anybody say it.
I've heard people say Godzilla X Kong.
You've heard regular people say it. Have you heard anyone in authority say it?
Who's
like
in authority?
like a voiceover guy.
No,
from the
the
studio.
commercials are mostly monster sounds.
Well, until I hear otherwise, I'm going with 10. Godzilla X Kong. You can go with times. Godzilla times Kong.
I'm
if you
not
want.
saying
I
it's
don't
pronounced
think that's-
times. It's just the concept, the X concept.
Well, none of these concepts make sense
I know.
to begin with. You know what? Let's talk about the drawing.
Okay.
If you remember the Godzilla piece I did, you will recognize these same cloud shapes.
Oh, yeah.
Which is the one element that I wanted both pieces to share. But where the Godzilla clouds are rendered with sweeping hatch lines and textures done with fine liners,
Oh, right.
Kong's clouds get a more painterly look with this wash, and I think they still have that same billowy, dramatic feel.
Yeah.
Just with a completely different technique.
I like them. Are you looking forward to the new Empire?
Godzilla multiplied by Kong. You and I watched Monarch, the
We
TV
did.
series, and I think that helped.
Yeah.
I thought the MonsterVerse so far has been fine.
Right.
We saw all the movies. We had fun with most of those.
We did.
But I think watching Kurt Russell in the Monarch show
Yeah.
kind of ramped it up for us.
It did.
I really kind of want to see where that all goes.
Me too. I want to see more of the Hollow Earth. And I want to see what other monsters they have down there.
Well,
We saw that dragon.
right, and we know Kong is battling the Skar King, kind of a monstrous abomination of Kong.
He looks like he'd be tough to beat.
Well, yeah, and if anybody would know that, it would be you, Mitch, because like your buddy Kong, you too battled the Skar King this week in the latest episode of that monstrous abomination of a show, Ink It or Stink It. Over the years, I've drawn different things for you to ink, and despite some stinks along the way, your inking has actually improved. So to make sure it isn't just some weird fluke, I'm giving you this Skar King to ink.
Okay.
And I just kind of want to know, what is your process? What informs the decisions you make? Is this stupid game actually working?
I don't know if I've learned anything, but I know I have more control with brush pens than I do with regular brushes. So I did the details with brush pens and microns.
All right. Well, I do that too.
I know.
Sometimes. All right. So, but I'm not. Look, I'm not the great arbiter of inking. I'm learning and teaching myself.
Yeah.
Apparently, just the way you are. We're all hoping to improve here.
Yeah.
And it feels like you are. So give me more. What are you doing here?
Okay, well, I tried to remember where my light source was.
There you go.
And I got that from you always screaming, "Where's your light source?"
I don't
at
think
me
I was screaming
while I
at
was
you.
inking.
Insist
But I
upon
get it, I think. So
Yeah,
my ink
okay,
lines
good.
were thinner
Yeah.
where the light hit, heavier in the shadow,
Yeah.
and the wash, same thing.
I mean, that's an important concept to grasp.
Yeah.
Using line and tone to show light direction. Oh, and you're also stealing my paper towel trick, I noticed.
Yeah, I noticed you always had a towel in your left hand.
Yeah.
And I was using it to sop up water or the ink on the paper.
I do.
Or on the brush, and it's useful.
Yeah, this is amazing. You know, we started this game to have a laugh.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm actually somehow teaching you stuff.
I can't ink, but I feel more comfortable doing stuff now than I used to.
Well, I think you actually can ink to a degree. These highlights, you put down water on the cheeks where you wanted highlights, and then you inked around it. And I'm super impressed. I think they look great. What are you doing here?
Oh, I'm using the darker wash to brush in some fur.
Okay.
I was going to use the brush pen, but I thought the ink was too dark.
It's dark.
And I'm going for subtle.
Well, it is subtle. This is a very subtle ink job.
Oh, and with the mouth, I figured the deepest part of the mouth would be darker. Okay. So I did a few layers of darker wash back there and diluted the inks up front.
Honestly, I'm impressed. Tone and line can be used to show depth, and you seem to understand that. I'm impressed.
Thank you.
But you still have to impress our judges.
Yes.
As you know, the judges panel is made up of our Patreon supporters who have seen your work and decided whether or not it's solid work.
An ink?
Or maybe not so solid.
A stink.
So let's see how you did. Yay! Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I think I'm going to take full credit for this win.
What?
Hear me out. It's not full credit. Okay. I mean, you participated. But I guess I'm happy that you somehow learned this from us doing inking videos.
Oh, yeah.
People in our comments tell us they have fun with this channel. They say it's fun. I love hearing that. And some people say it inspires them to try stuff.
Yeah.
All good, right? But knowing how completely clueless you were just a couple years ago about drawing, inking, value, line weight,
True, yeah,
light source, I feel like this channel can actually teach.
Yeah.
And that's huge.
Right?
Because I'm an awful teacher.
You are.
Right? But somehow it worked. We might be doing something right here. This is good news.
Yeah.
This must be what it feels like for a parent when their kid learns to ride a bike.
Well, I'm glad that you like it.
I do.
Inking is still not my thing.
I'm proud.
But I've picked up some stuff.
Well, we've both picked up stuff. I mean, you will absolutely crash your bike into a ditch at some point. We both will.
Right.
But overall, we're moving forward.
Yeah.
Practice, progress. This is good. You know, I was thinking, watching this, you told me at some point that you held back a little on your line work.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to let the wash do all the heavy lifting.
Yeah, even the parts where I have the dark black brush pen, they seemed a little harsh compared to the wash.
Yeah, I get that. I didn't want to use almost any line with this Kong piece. I think for the same reasons.
Okay.
Especially down on his legs where I wanted it to feel like there's a mist rising.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, you can see, and maybe this is something you can try. I'm using the wash to brush lines of dark gray. So I still get the benefit of the line, but I'm not slapping down a really sharp, dark pen line or even a brush pen.
Right.
I think it's more subtle, and it helps with this idea of scale and distance and atmospheric perspective.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's look at this thing and see what we got.
Okay.
Oh, here's a weird thing. I didn't plan these pieces together. You know I didn't have these next to each other,
Right.
but the background contours
Yeah.
line up. Almost like the Kong and Godzilla pieces are puzzle pieces meant to go
How
together.
is that? Did you
I know.
really not?
Right, and it wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
I think it was subconscious.
Huh.
Even the way the lower left in the Godzilla kind of mirrors the lower right in the Kong.
Yeah.
It's like that weird twisted spatial logic of the hollow earth.
I think it's that weird twisted logic of your hollow head.
And there's your Skar. I like it. This is a nice job. I think Kong
Thank
will
you.
win in the movie.
And in this video.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's okay. I learned a little, and that's the goal. But you really did a good job. Maybe too good. I don't know. I think maybe next time I'm going to have you make it harder. Maybe have you draw it.
Oh, no.
Or maybe
That's not good.
you can make your own washes. You can mix your own washes.
Oh, geez. Well,
Or
I'm not going to
maybe
draw it.
It's an all stippling. Doing all stippling with the microns. You haven't even tried that yet.
It's true.
I think that's
haven't.
fair.